When reading newspapers, magazines, or news posts, the news headlines are the first to be caught by the reader's eyes. They can positively serve in increasing the reads of the article and may also decrease them notably. So as much as editing the content is important, editing the headline is even of greater importance. Arabic into English translators may sometimes confuse between the Arabic style versus the English one, thereby producing oddly read headlines. So how can translators produce translated headlines that read and sound as natural as possible? With examples, we will discuss how to fix some commonly made mistakes based on the linguistic features of English headlines. Rule number 1. Verb tenses. English denotes certain tenses to express a certain time effect. Simple present tenses indicate past events, while infinitive forms indicate future events. For example, المملكة تستضيف قمة قادة مجموعة العشرين في 2020 should be translated as Kingdom to host G20 summit in 2020 and not Kingdom hosts or Kingdom hosting. While the headline ماكرون في زيارة إلى مالي لتعزيز القوات الإقليمية لمكافحة الإرهاب should be translated as Macron visits Mali to boost anti-terrorism forces and not Macron is visiting or Macron is in a visit. Rule number 2. Using compounds. So instead of translating the Arabic expression التحالف الذي تقوده السعودية into the coalition that is led by Saudi Arabia, we can simply say Saudi-led coalition. Rule number 3. Semantic brevity. Why to use multiple words when you can use only one? As wordy as you wish to be, you may translate منفذي الهجوم as people who carried out the attack. But why to do so when you can just say perpetrators or assailants? Let's take a look at how we can translate the following headline. الأمم المتحدة تطلب المعونات المادية. If you are thinking of whether you should choose aid or support for المعونات and whether to choose material or financial for المادية, then please don't. Because we can use a one English word that gives the same meaning and it also better suits this context, which is fund. So the new suggested headline is UN asks for funds. Also notice the use of acronyms as well. So UN instead of the United Nations. Rule number 4. Dropping articles and auxiliaries. For example, when translating the headline مقتل العشرات من قوات الأمن الأفغانية في غارات لطالبان, one may immediately say dozens of the Afghan security forces were killed in the Taliban raids. After finishing the preliminary translation, look for any articles and auxiliaries and drop them down. It will then become dozens of Afghan security forces killed in Taliban raids. Rule number 5. Using proper titles. So if you translate the headline الملك عبد الله الثاني يستقبل وزير الخارجية in a Saudi context, we will use Minister of Foreign Affairs, while for a British context it will be UK Foreign Secretary, and for the US it will be US Secretary of State. Capitalization is a commonly confusing part of headlines. Some headlines follow the general rule for titles, which is capitalizing each main word, while other newspapers capitalize only the first word in addition to the proper nouns. Both ways are equally accurate. It's worth noting that the discussed issues are chosen in light of the common mistakes translators may make, as a survey was prepared and disseminated to translation students where they were asked to translate some of the examples we discussed. As you have seen, the reason behind most of the mistranslations is following the Arabic lexical and grammatical style in addition to the lack of awareness of the features of English news headlines. The key word to solve this problem is reading. First, by reading news to be familiar with the writing style of news posts, reading parallel text to compare between the source and the target text and learn how different translation problems can be solved, and finally, reading manuals or books about the lingo of news items. The role of an editor facing a similar problem would be encouraging translators to follow these steps by assigning reading tasks of related topics, preparing glossaries of official titles, and conducting group training for the team. I hope you found this video both enjoyable and beneficial. Thank you for listening.